Hello everyone, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Your support and companionship have always been the motivation that keeps me going, telling more beautiful and emotional stories. Today, I'm bringing you a new video that continues the turbulent journey of Ly Hoai Ca and Hùng. Each episode is like a small puzzle piece, contributing to a bigger picture of life, love, and the challenges they must face. And I truly appreciate seeing all of you still following along, listening, and sharing this story with me. So in today's video, I invite everyone to take a little moment, sit back comfortably, and slowly feel every development, every emotion unfolding in the lives of Hoai Ca and Hùng. Every detail, every moment will help us understand more clearly the path they are walking through. Stay with me until the end of the video to see how everything will continue to unfold. Thank you all so much. That morning, Hoai Ca sat on the front porch, her hands clasped together on her knees, her eyes quietly fixed on the familiar red earth path leading down to the boarding school. Every day, that road was covered with a new layer of dust, yet to Hoai Ca, it always brought back the image of little Tony in her arms, the way she used to carry him while gently soothing him step by step. It had been more than a month since Tony, her sweet, late-talking little boy, started attending his therapy class. The time wasn't long, but to Hoai Ca, each passing day felt heavy, as if every morning she had to learn how to endure a little more emptiness inside the house. At night, when only the steady sound of the fan remained and the warm yellow light fell across the floor, Hoai Ca would lie awake in silence. It was in those moments that the longing for her child rushed in soft, tender, yet painfully deep. She hugged a pillow to her chest, as though holding Tony, holding the small, gentle world he carried with him, blurry yet warm enough to make her chest tighten. As long as he makes progress. As long as he can say just one word, Mom. The thought drifted through her mind, bringing a sting to her eyes. Then every hardship will be worth it. But what tormented her the most was the question that echoed through every night, every morning, every time she looked toward the boarding school. Was she doing the right thing, or the wrong thing, by letting her son be so far away from her? A small question, yet heavy enough to squeeze the heart of any mother. Every early morning at the market, when the air was still misty with dawn, Hoai Ca would carry her heavy bamboo shoulder pole and walk down the small path leading to the marketplace. In her baskets were only a few bundles of fresh green vegetables, all gathered from her neighbors' gardens. She had no land of her own to grow anything, so she had to ask, to pick, to collect whatever people could spare. But because of her hard work, kindness, and gentle nature, everyone loved her and was always willing to give her whatever extra produce they had. There were days when her small shoulders ached from hours of gathering vegetables, yet Hoai Ca never complained. She would simply adjust her shoulder pole, wipe the sweat from her forehead, and continue walking, as if those burdens had never weighed on her heart. Life was still difficult, and her little earnings from selling vegetables were barely enough, but Hoai Ca always kept a smile on her face. That smile didn't come from an easy life, it came from a simple belief. As long as she doesn't give up, as long as she keeps trying, then someday life will bloom in its own way. And that small, quiet faith was what kept her standing strong through all the hardships she faced. That day, in the middle of the crowded morning market, while Hoai Ca was bending down to rearrange the last bundles of vegetables, she suddenly froze. Hung's mother was standing right in front of her, the woman whose mere presence was enough to pull a long trail of painful memories back into Hoai Ca's heart. But today, she appeared strangely gentle. No more harshness, no more coldness, no more judgment in her eyes. Her gaze softened, and even her voice was quieter, almost careful. She asked Hoai Ca a few slow, hesitant questions, as if afraid that any word might hurt her further. Then she bought several bundles of vegetables, far more than she actually needed. And not only that, she quietly followed Hayier all the way home, each step hesitant, as though she was thinking hard before taking the next one. When Hùng returned, the air inside the small house immediately grew heavy. No one spoke at first. Only the wind outside and the sound of Hung's footsteps stopping at the doorway could be heard. Hung's mother was the first to break the silence. Her voice trembled, fragile, like someone trying to hold on to something they had lost for far too long. "I've changed. I just want my family back. Only 2 months left until Tet, my son." The sentence sounded simple, yet it fell over the room like a quiet, indescribable weight. Hùng stood still. His shoulders stiffened. In his deep eyes lay memories compressed over the years, the hurt, the arguments, the nights he left home because he could no longer bear it. "I need time." Hùng spoke slowly, as if afraid of hurting someone, yet his words remained firm. "If going back means being unhappy, then I don't want to repeat the past." Hayier sat beside him, her hands clasped tightly. She understood Hùng, understood how deep his wounds were. But she also felt for his mother, a woman trying to reclaim even a small fragment of warmth after all her mistakes. In that moment, Hayier felt as if she were standing between two hearts, both cracked, both hurting. She didn't know whose side to take. Didn't know what she could possibly do to ease the pain on either side. All she knew was that the silence then was heavier than any words could ever be. That evening, when the streetlights had just flickered on and their soft golden glow spread across the yard like a thin layer of mist, everything suddenly became unusually quiet. The gentle sound of insects humming in the garden blended with the earthy scent carried by the night breeze, making the whole atmosphere feel warmer, calmer. Hùng sat leaning against the old wooden chair, the one he always used every night after work. His eyes gazed out into the dim yard where the banana leaves swayed gently in the wind. There was something in his gaze, distant yet tender, as if he were trying to gather the scattered pieces of memories and emotions swirling inside him. After a long while, long enough for them to hear the wind slipping through the cracks in the door, Hùng finally spoke. His voice was low, warm, and carrying a hint of tightness he couldn't quite hide. "Tomorrow, let's go visit Tony. I really want to see him, want to know how much he's improved." The moment he finished, Hayier lifted her head slightly. Under the soft yellow light, her eyes shimmered, gentle as always, yet tinged with a quiet ache. She understood that feeling well, the deeper you try to hide the longing for your child, the stronger it becomes. The more silent you are, the more it spills through your eyes. She looked at Hùng and softly nodded. Just a small nod, but it carried everything, that she understood him, understood the empty space lingering in the heart of the man sitting before her. Tony was Hung's purest source of happiness. That little boy, slow to speak, rarely laughing, yet with such bright, striking eyes, always toddled behind his father every afternoon, sometimes giggling for reasons no one knew. A sound so simple, yet enough to make an entire hard day suddenly worthwhile. On the day Tony entered his therapy class, Hùng had stood at the school gate for a long time. His hand gripped Tony's backpack strapped tightly as he watched the small figure walk away until it completely disappeared. In that moment, he felt a hollow space open inside his chest, a space that only a single word, "Daddy," which Tony had never been able to say, could ever fill. Hayier lowered her gaze and gently tightened her grip on the hem of her shirt. Though Tony was still small, still slow to speak, still fragile, his strength lay in his quiet perseverance. Every look he gave his parents, every tight hug before bedtime, every time he rested his head on his mother's shoulder, all were small but unbreakable threads that tied Hayier and Hung's hearts together. Thinking about that, Hayier smiled softly. A faint smile, yet enough to warm the entire room. Tomorrow, they would see their child again. And that thought alone made both their hearts beat just a little faster. In Hayiers' mind, a breathtakingly beautiful scene rose up, so vivid that she could almost hear her son's tiny footsteps. She pictured Tony running toward her from afar, his little legs still unsteady, stumbling over each other yet never stopping, rushing toward her with all the innocence and determination of a child longing for his mother's embrace. That small, precious image seemed to step out of her imagination, coming closer with each breath. Then Tony spread his arms wide and wrapped them around her waist, that tiny, familiar hug Hayier could recognize even in her sleep, a hug with the power to soothe every sorrow within her. He would look up at her with those dark, glistening eyes as clear as morning dew, shimmering as if they held an entire world inside them. His mouth would open, attempting to form the word mom, even if the sound was faint, broken. Barely there, it would still be enough to stop her heart. Just imagining it made her chest tremble softly. A tightness climbed from her throat, stealing her breath. Her eyes began to sting, and she knew that if she closed them for even a second, tears would fall faster than she could wipe them away. Hayier believed, with a conviction so fierce it squeezed her heart, that if Tony could say mom, if he could overcome just that one tiny step, then every wound this family carried, no matter how deep, would slowly begin to heal. Because children always carry a kind of magic that adults spend their whole lives trying to understand. They don't hold grudges. They don't cling to hurt. They simply love with the purest heart. And it is that purity that forces grown-ups to pause, to reflect, to soften, and to love and forgive again. Amid that rising tide of emotion, Hùng suddenly reached out and took Hayier's hand. His touch startled her, gently, warm, steady, the warmth of a man who had walked through storms yet still chose to stand by her side. He squeezed lightly, as if to say he was still here, and would not let go. His voice rose softly, deep and warm enough to make Hayier look up. As long as you and Tony are happy, I'll keep trying no matter what. A short sentence, yet it softened her heart, loosening every tight, aching place inside her. She didn't answer, but the way she squeezed his hand back said everything for her. Outside, the night sky seemed to quiet down just to listen. A few scattered stars shimmered faintly, enough to cast a gentle glow on the old leaf-roofed house. A breeze drifted by, carrying the scent of dry grass and the lingering chill of year's end, making the world feel strangely peaceful. Somewhere nearby, a dog barked in the distance, blending with the rustling leaves, simple sounds of life that people so easily forget, yet they, too, are pieces of happiness. And in that hushed, whisper-like night, Hayier realized that the Lunar New Year was drawing near. A season of waiting, of reunion, and of quiet hopes nurtured in silence. A new year meant for small but resilient hearts, for souls learning to mend after years of hurt, and for their little family who were learning, slowly and tenderly, how to love again. That night, after Hùng had fallen asleep from exhaustion, Hayier remained sitting quietly at the edge of the bed for a long time. Her heart was full of unspoken worries, thoughts she couldn't put into words. Only when her body grew heavy with fatigue did she finally lie down and pull the thin blanket over herself. The small house slowly sank into silence. Outside on the porch, the wind brushed through the leaves, creating a soft rustling sound like a lullaby of the night. The moon peeked through the clouds, casting silver beams through the window and painting the corner of the room with a gentle, magical glow. Perhaps because she missed her son so deeply it ached in her chest, Hayier drifted into sleep without realizing it. Days and nights of longing had built up inside her, pulling her mind toward Tony, calling him home to her, at least in her dreams. And then, Tony appeared. Not in his usual quiet, reserved way, but shining bright, lively, like a little angel. He ran toward her, his tiny feet landing softly as though he were floating. His eyes sparkled like two night stars, clear and round, carrying all the innocence she loved so fiercely it hurt. His soft hair fluttered in the wind. His little cheeks glowed pink from running. He stopped in front of her, looked up, his tiny lips trembling. Then Tony spoke. "Mom." Just those two small words froze Hayier completely. She stared, stunned, unable to believe her ears. In a dream that felt real, as if Tony were truly there, calling her with the very voice she had waited for her entire motherhood. Hayier dropped to her knees, her hands trembling as she opened her arms. Tony leaped into her embrace, clinging to her neck just like the old days. The faint scent of a child's hair wrapped around her, and her heart felt like it was bursting with happiness. Tony chirped softly, his dream voice so clear it was as if he stood right beside her. "Mom, I'm good. My teacher says I'm smart. I miss you. I miss Dad." Every word, every sound, every tiny syllable was like a piece of magic falling straight into Hayier's heart. She held him tightly, tears streaming down her face, crying and laughing at the same time in a joy so overwhelming it almost hurt. In that dream, she didn't want to let Tony go for even a second. She wanted to keep him in her arms, wanted to hear him speak again, wanted to make up for all the nights she cried from missing him. But dreams, no matter how beautiful, must eventually fade. When Hayier opened her eyes, the sky outside was beginning to glow. The first morning rays slipped through the window and brushed her cheeks. She lifted her hand and realized her eyes were still wet. A long, emotional breath escaped her. She lay still for a while, staring at the ceiling bathed in the tender light of dawn. That dream was more than just a dream. It was a gentle reminder that Tony was trying his best, day by day, step by step. That hope was still alive in her, in Hùng, and in the heart of that little boy. That one day, when she held Tony in her real arms, the word mom would come not in a dream, but in life. And when that day arrived, their little family would finally be healed. This is where today's video ends. Thank you so much for watching until the end. See you in the next episode, where the journey of Hayier, Hùng, and Tony will continue to unfold with new, warm, emotional turns. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, and subscribe to support the channel.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Cảm ơn mọi người đã theo dõi video của mình nha. Hẹn gặp lại mọi người trong những video tiếp theo. Tạm biệt.